Let's begin.
Here we go! Hi, everybody!
Start the insanity.
You are not worried, are you?
Me? No.
Well, we're waiting.
Hello, and welcome to Super Media All-Stars. We are a weekly podcast, and today we are talking about movies. I am your host, John Harris, and I have three other All-Stars joining me in the studio. First one being Jake Boston.
Welcome to prime time, bitch!
Anthony Borich.
Cheese nips are not the same as cheese-its. I have a list if you're not going to follow it.
And lastly, Brent Harris.
Brett doesn't fit in the glory hole, and that's why Lee like Brett.
Welcome, everybody. How is everybody doing?
Better now. We haven't recorded in a while, so I'm just fucking rip-roaring to go.
I know we kind of took a week and a half off due to some other circumstances, but we return with a great podcast for you today. In today's episode, we got some movie news that we're covering from the last couple weeks. We all saw Kingsman the opening weekend that we're discussing our review with you guys. And then we have some other box office stories that we'll close with, and then some trivia. But first, guys, we're officially into the fall 2017 season. A bunch of things are coming out, new TV shows, some new stuff on the streaming services. Anything good you guys are checking out?
Some animation domination, watching the new Simpsons, the new Family Guy, new Bob's Burgers. They were all pretty good.
Yeah, Anthony over here has seen every episode of The Simpsons probably at least 5 times.
Have you missed a premiere?
No, I don't think so.
I was going to say, I think we used to watch it together all the time. We were younger, and you still hold that true today.
You didn't watch when it first premiered, so that's a lie. You were like
That was
1
the
year
year
old.
I was born.
Yeah.
So it was made for me.
Yikes.
I checked out Big Mouse on Netflix.
Big Mouth, not
Oh.
Big Mouse.
So you were paying attention.
Yep.
Well, that's exactly
Was that great?
That's exactly how it turned out. I watched the first episode, and I kind of gave the 2, 3, and 4, 5 episodes a chance. If you didn't know anything about the show, it's about puberty. It's on Netflix. It's animation. Has some reoccurring comedians in it.
It's a new Netflix animated show. It's got Nick Kroll and John Mulaney.
Yeah. The first episode, very puberty heavy jokes, but then it kind of just sticks around for the entire series, which makes sense, but it kind of gets old very quickly.
How's that period blood? Is it funny?
I think they represent in like the second episode, but I mean, I have nothing against the comedians, but that show just I didn't get any laughs out of it. So
Yeah, I saw like a 5-minute trailer, and I'm like, yeah, that's all I need to see. I'm
No.
okay.
yeah.
I thought the trailer was hilarious.
I don't think it's gonna get better than that
Yeah.
though.
That's unfortunate.
It seems like a 5-minute like internet episode at best.
Yeah.
So anything else?
I've been super busy helping my brother plan his wedding on Saturday, so I haven't watched a lot. I watched the new Bob's Burgers. That was fun because they had 63 different types of animation in 22 minutes.
It's
So that-
pretty good. It was fun.
That was pretty neat. It was a fun story. I kind of wish it was kind of just like the same animation throughout, but it was a neat concept of what they were doing. American Horror Story Cult.
been good.
That's getting really good. Finally, it's been 3 episodes deep so far, but it's been captivating. The 3rd episode has been by far the best because they're explaining like how the cult originated and everything. So that's been good.
Interesting. I finally watched Wonder Woman.
What'd you think?
Oh, you didn't see that with us?
Nope.
Oh, all right.
I just saw it last week.
Okay. And
I had a feeling you'd say that.
It wasn't bad by any means. It's definitely it's definitely DC's best movie so far. I feel like I did like Man of Steel, and those are comparable, but it wasn't as good as people had hyped it up for me. So I think like an 8 is what I'd give it.
Sure.
we rate it out of 5 stars here.
Oh my god.
So 4 out of 5 stars?
Yes, 4 out of 5 stars.
All right. That seems pretty high.
That seems high.
I would do 3.5.
Okay.
For a
Four is a fair number.
for an origin movie though is good compared to other origin movies. I would say.
I would rather watch Man of Steel any day. I would rather watch Suicide Squad any day than Wonder Woman. There's like 3 good scenes in Wonder Woman. The rest of it is just kind of like filler and boring. Or like the final act is not good.
The final half hour is terrible.
Yeah. The whole Ares reveal and like just it looks so cartoonish, the final
Like
battle.
maybe because I've had too much interaction with like Ares interpretations.
Sure.
But his, like, nothing against the actor, Professor Lupin from Harry Potter, if you didn't know.
Whoa, spoilers.
We talked about it in an early episode.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Well. You can cut that out.
I won't.
But anyways, his character is not fitting for that character, Ares. Like, and the scene where it shows him in the cave, or when he first hits Earth, or whatever that scene is.
Yeah.
Like, and it's clearly CGI and he's on a ripped body.
Uh-huh,
It's just terrible.
Yeah, no. I like the reveal, but like the whole fight, no.
Right.
No, not at all. The beginning was very wire fu heavy.
Right.
With all the Amazon women. It was cool, but it was just like, yeah, I know this
Yeah.
isn't happening in real life. The best scene in the movie by far was the trench battle.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and the director had to fight to keep that scene in, which is crazy.
It's
It's crazy to me. Studio heads don't know what they're doing.
oh my god. And
So-
go ahead.
I was gonna change the subject and say I was watching Vice Principals too. It's been really good.
Well, all right, fuck right off.
No, I just want to add one more thing. That Chris Pine in Wonder Woman is fantastic.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Probably the best thing about that movie, actually.
What's your 2 cents on Vice Principals, Anthony?
So I'm not a big Danny McBride, but he's actually really funny in this. What's the other guy? He's Walton
Goggins.
Goggins. That's it.
He's the best. I love
He
him.
was great.
And he's hilarious in
He
that
is
show.
funny.
No,
No,
I haven't seen
it
any
was-
of season 2 yet.
It's been fun.
I know we just checked out, and I'm probably going to continue to watch Angie Tribeca.
Yeah.
Angie Tribeca. We just watched that before the show started.
Jake knows I love just 80s Naked Gun humor.
Yeah.
Anything with, was it Nielsen?
Leslie Nielsen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything his kind of style of humor. Jake got me on the first episode. Now I'm kind of just dying to do that 30-day trial with Hulu just to check out the rest of that show.
Yeah, it already has 2 seasons, and it debuted like less than a year ago.
Yeah, so not timely, but I'm always up for the quick, cheap laugh.
Yeah.
Like,
Is that show
Naked
doing
Gun.
well? I feel like it.
I don't think so.
Oh,
Well, I can't. You guys are better. Will know this better than I will, but I can't think of any other comedies that are that kind of comedy on
no,
TV.
it's hilarious.
But it's on TBS, so TBS
Yeah.
has a very low bar for viewers. So I can see it lasting a little bit. They have a good. They have Conan. They have Samantha Bee, Full Frontal. I've heard that's really good. I haven't seen any of it. They have a couple TV shows that I watched. The Detour is good, and Search Party is very good.
I was just happy to see that Steve Carell wrote it and is producing it.
He directed the first episode. He's producing all of it, and he wrote a few of them. I don't know how many.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah.
But that whole series is just Naked Gun all over, but today, and it's great. I love it.
The main actor from anything?
I've seen him before, but I can't remember what he's from.
Okay.
He's a comedian. I know that.
Oh, he is?
Yeah,
I know
I've
the-
seen him in something.
The chick's obviously from Office.
Yeah, Rashida Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's really good in it. These type of spoof movies, or this genre of spoof in general, obviously it's very hit or miss.
Yeah.
Like, either some jokes fall flat and don't go anywhere, but then some little dumb things just stick with you and you love them.
It's just it's just like when everybody's laughing and that dog smile comes on. The dog's laughing with the people.
Or as simple as when she's doing one of those classes where modeling, or a naked person stands in front of the room and everyone else around her draws her, and like it just one guy just draws like a shape of a person, then draws the boobs and circles them and points an arrow at him and says boobs.
Yeah, that's just that kind of humor. That's
Right.
all it is.
Or there's a person behind a person that's also drawing, and she's drawing the person in front of the black guy in front of her.
Yeah.
Not even the model. It's just great.
Yeah. So if you love Naked Gun humor, even if you don't know what that movie is, I would recommend checking out Naked Gun. Then check out Angie Tribeca on TBS. But moving on, we have some news to cover from Hollywood this week. First one being Sonic the Hedgehog. Very rarely do we get to talk video games and movies at the same time, but we do this week. Sonic the Hedgehog rights picked up by Paramount, and this was a switch from Sony Pictures, I believe, had the rights before. Does that sound right to you, Jake? Is it
I think so, but I mean, they're really. The last time I remember Sonic being in a movie was Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was Disney, so.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, there's never been an actual full movie of Sonic.
Yeah. Well, this one's being pitched as a live action CGI animated film. That makes me nervous.
Yeah, you know what that reminds me of?
What?
The Smurfs. or Alvin and the Chipmunks,
Yeah, but it's being
or Yogi Bear.
directed by Jeff Fowler, who did Where the Wild Things Are.
I didn't see that movie.
Was
Is
that
is
good?
Yeah, it was decent.
That's who's directing it. Because I thought it was one of Tim Miller. Like Tim Miller, the guy who directed Deadpool. He's not directing it. He's helping. He's executive
He might be
producer.
one of the producers,
But like one of his like mentors is directing it. Like he helped out. Like Blur Studios, the guys who did all the graphics for Deadpool.
Really?
They're
Interesting.
going in pretty big on Sonic the Hedgehog.
There's a lot of routes they can go with this. They could do like the Sonic cartoon that used to be on. Well, that's old Sonic cartoons.
Gotta go fast.
That wouldn't work.
Ugh, give me my chili dogs.
What was the one with the one we were probably too old to be watching? But when there's kids and they're in the real world, and
looking for the gems.
yeah, and Shadow's
you
there.
used to
They-
watch that
Sonic
on-
Underground.
no, it was something
we
else.
used to watch it on
Sonic
Saturday
X.
mornings.
Sonic X.
We watched it
Yeah.
on Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
I don't know that, so I must have been way
Right
too
at the
old.
age where you probably shouldn't be watching cartoons anymore. But that's how I see this going. Probably throwing some kid in there for a Sonic Connect 2.
Sonic X is the most 90s name I've ever heard in my life, and it wasn't even out in the 90s.
No, it was like mid 2000s. So
Yucks. I have a daughter and just watch Cartoon Network randomly. They have a new show called Sonic Boom.
oh really?
It's total garbage.
Is it?
It's gross.
All right. Well, so we'll see what happens with Sonic the Hedgehog. Hopefully, I don't know if they even talked about a date yet, but I think it's like in the next
It says
year or two.
2018 on here, but then it says 2019 on the poster.
Yeah, it won't come out next year for sure. They haven't done anything with it yet, so
No.
it's a ways.
We'd have
away.
more details by now if that was the case.
Yeah.
All right, so not too long ago, we all had a bad movie night over at a friend of the show, Kevin.
Yeah, we had a trifecta of Chips, Terminator Genesis, and The Mummy.
Woo, I won.
And we can tie in Genesis into this news article because Arnold Schwarzenegger has stepped out and says the next Terminator film will ignore Genesis and will bring back Cameron as producer and Linda Hamilton from, I believe, T2
And one.
and
yeah.
one returns as well for this next movie, which we all just saw Genesis and it doesn't make any sense.
I would say out of all of us, I'm the biggest Terminator fan here.
Yeah, go for it.
One is a straight up horror movie, and it's really good. Just low budget horror. Very good. T2 is one of the best action movies ever made. I don't think there's anything wrong with that movie. And if they bring... I'm skeptical on this because Tim Miller is going to direct this, the guy from Deadpool. And James Cameron is actually like helping write it.
Yeah.
Like he's part of the creative team, which is super exciting because he hasn't been a part of anything since T2.
He wrote like a tease for it, right? Or like a pre-script, or whatever. There's a term for it, but like a pre-script before it got pushed.
From what I've heard, he's all up in Avatar's business right now for the next 5 years, but like once a week he helps out with the Terminator team to make sure they're on the right track, which is very exciting for
That's
me.
good. It's good to hear because after we all viewed Genesis, we just thought, well, this series went to garbage.
See, I've heard horrible things about Terminator Genesis, but I've never actually seen it until last week when we watched it, and I didn't think it was that bad. Terminator Salvation is way worse. The one with Christian Bale.
I get hung up on continuity really bad when it comes to series.
Oh yeah, that went to shit. Like
Yeah.
you can time travel as a Terminator, and they just went like, oh yeah, T1 and T2 they were popular. Let's just fuck with their continuity.
Yeah, that's one thing that is my OCD about timelines and wanting them to make sense. I know that's not always the case, but that bothered me through the whole thing without this Genesis movie.
And what I've actually heard from this new one that they're developing, it's going to take place after T2, so 3, 4, and 5 like won't even exist.
That's perfectly fine. Apply the way it should be. All right, our next news story comes from. We actually had an episode about it, and now we got some more news coming out of Hollywood that it is getting a sequel, a very quick sequel in September of 2019.
You'll float the sequel too. You'll float the sequel released at higher too.
Does this seem really quick?
No.
Yes.
2 years?
Less
It's
than 2
doing
years.
so well. Why not? But
That's what makes me nervous.
I am nervous about I've rewatched the original It twice since we've seen this
the
now.
Tim Curry version, yeah.
Man, that adult version's horrible.
The adult scene is garbage. All of the adult portion.
All of it.
Which makes me think they'd have to reinterpret this for a new horror movie instead of following maybe the book path or they're not going to do what the TV did.
There was an interview with the director, and if they bring, there's nobody attached yet to this new sequel, but if they bring the director back, he was wanting to push an origin, like the origins of Pennywise, like in Pilgrim times, like that type of thing, which has never been done.
For a sequel?
Yeah, for the sequel. Like, it would go into his origin, but it would also go with the adult kids,
Yeah.
but it would also have flashbacks to the kids, because that's the thing that's, like, helping right now.
Kind of what the I can't remember his name, but the larger kid in the movie, how he's like going through the history and finding all the pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, actually.
And they actually cut a scene from the first movie that helped with this origin story, but they're like, no, let's just wait until the next movie to go through all this backstory.
That sounds hard, but if they do it right, I think I would like it.
Yeah, and he did fine on the first one, so if they bring him back, I have total faith in him.
Yeah.
It also broke records in September. It helped make September the best box office this month has ever seen, which is a very big deal.
Without inflation, it's the highest grossing horror movie ever. It just passed The Exorcist last week.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
I loved this movie, so I'm glad to hear that it's breaking records.
And they needed it from a terrible show up of the month of August.
August, yeah. We've talked about it, the lowest August in 20 years, something close to that. But yeah, this is like the highest September in a long time too.
Yeah, you can go Google it statistics from what it broke in September, but it crushed it. And with little competition other than what Kingsman came out the end, and Kingsman did what it needed to, but it pretty much carried. I think it was a statistic of 49% of box office totals for the month of September. So by itself, and that's a huge accomplishment to this movie. So
Yep, it was a juggernaut.
if you haven't seen it yet, there's a whole episode we talked about it. Go see it. It's gonna be an instant own for me. So
Let me know when you see it. I want to go watch it again.
Listen to it.
Next in the news was Blade Runner 2049. Early screenings came back last week. Critics are loving it. It actually comes out Thursday this week. We were going to go see it, so get excited for that review because we're super excited to see it.
7 p.m. showing. We will be there. It's like a 2-hour, 45-minute movie.
It's a long one.
Almost an hour longer than the original.
Yeah. But critics are saying it's a return to great sci-fi, which for me, that's like a match made in heaven. Give me Harrison Ford, sci-fi movie, I'm in.
See, I wasn't expecting a lot because prior to a couple days ago, I've never seen the original Blade Runner, so I didn't know what to expect. We watched the original Blade Runner, and
Some of us did.
yeah, Brent was very
Sleeping.
Zeesville. But I'm not gonna lie, I slept for like 10 minutes of that movie. The ambiance in the movie's good, like the world that they build, especially for 1982, was fantastic.
Yeah.
The characters I really liked. The story was kind of boring, and there were a lot of very boring parts to it.
I had to do some post research on some like themes that were played with because I picked up on a few of my own, but I missed a ton that over the years that people have kind of correlated to this film. And there's a lot of good arguments made. I'm not sure if I would have made them because I've seen so many of the sci-fi movies that play with these themes since Blade Runner, but since I didn't see Blade Runner first, I can see the effect that it did have on the sci-fi genre. But to 2049's credibility, they're saying it takes the Blade Runner movie, pays tribute to the old one, but gives it a whole new twist that sci-fi lovers are going to love today. So that's perfect.
And we watched the final cut version of Blade Runner,
The very last version that came out.
And it's kind of hard to think that like there's in the theatrical cut, there was a question of whether Deckard was a replicant or a human. Watching the final cut, I'm pretty sure it's spot on that he's a replicant. That's what they're trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, Ridley Scott's come out and said that he's a replicant. But a lot of people are saying that the fact that we have to ask that question is the point of this film. What does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be a robot?
And that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm okay with those motifs. And some people say you don't even have to answer that question. Just think about it.
Yeah.
So and that's the point of Blade Runner, to get you to think about that.
And I don't know if I'm like hyping myself up too much for this movie, but I'm expecting to be wowed like I was with Mad Max, like just being speechless after I see it. I know.
That's a
Oh my God.
Okay,
statement.
I'm walking in the same way I did with Mad Max Fury Road. Like I didn't see any. I've seen Mad Max a long time ago, but another sequel hadn't been made in like 25 years. I go into it hearing all of these rave reviews, and I walk out like not knowing what the fuck just happened, but knowing I love it, and just it's grown on me over time. I feel like Blade Runner 2049 is going to do the exact same thing, and I don't know if I'm overhyping it, but I'm ready for it. I probably am.
I was going to say, I never saw the original Mad Max Fury, but when I saw that one,
Jake, can you tell me the director's name?
Of 2049?
Yeah.
Denis Villeneuve. He directed Prisoners and Sicario and Arrival, which are all fantastic movies.
That's what I was going to get at, because I loved Arrival, and Arrival is not an action-packed movie, but it's very sci-fi heavy. It's about communication. It's about aliens.
It relies a lot on the twist.
Yeah. But that movie, like, it's not about action pieces, or it's a thinker. And if Blade Runner 2049's a thinker, I'm totally down for that, because I'm okay with thinking about motifs and movies and just like how does this, even if it comes to a conclusion where it's like what just happened, I'm okay with that, because that's how I left Mad Max, and like what we just watched, and I'm okay with Blade Runner ending like that. Yes, I'm totally okay with that.
Mad Max Fury Road, when we watched it, it was like an experience I've never had in theaters. So I feel like I'm hyping myself up too much, but I'm really wanting that feeling back.
I don't know
again.
if you can correlate these films. Like,
you can't, but I mean
the action eye orgasms that you had in Mad Max Fury Road, I don't think you're going to get the same.
I think you're going to get a lot more subtle, awesome scenery in Blade Runner. Just from the trailers alone, it looks beautiful.
I would say the world of Mad Max, I haven't seen anything like since the original Mad Max. And with Blade Runner, all of the trailers and scenes that I've seen from this movie, I feel the exact, like I'm just going to be pulled into this world. And that's how I was with Mad Max.
I think it's going to be like the same type of thing with how you felt towards the story of Arrival, but in a more entertaining setting. So it's going to be in the future with all like basically, the high tech world that it's in. So it's going to be more entertaining,
except way more stylized. Yeah,
right. But I feel like it's still going to be like the same twists and stuff as Arrival did.
I feel like this is probably this director's first touch on I think this is a big budget film. I would consider this a big budget film.
Oh yeah,
and it's hopefully a big hitter in the box office. But this director, known for great visuals, I mean, Arrival is very subtle, but it just has great cinematography, and all from the trailers alone, it looks like it's going to hit all these cues.
He's been quoted as saying the only reason why he directed this movie is because he didn't want anybody else to fuck it up.
So that makes me so happy.
Yeah, I'm so, and from all of the reviews that I've read and watched, I can't wait for it. Denis Villeneuve, Prisoners, amazing fucking movie. I know you just watched it recently, Brent.
Good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. I
Like,
can't believe you haven't seen it.
no, like Hugh Jackman's not really a strong actor typically, but he was phenomenal in that movie. Just an angry, obsessed dad, which is a perfect role for him. And then you've got Jake Gyllenhaal, who's also not the greatest actor, but he's just this like straightforward cop that gives like most of his best effort to solving crimes. But it's just phenomenal. Like, and then even in the ending,
I was gonna say it's
most of the mystery stuff like that. Like I can guess the ending, but this I did not at all.
It's one of the best endings in the last 10 years.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so pitch perfect.
Do you remember, did that perform well in the box office?
It performed all right.
All right.
Yeah.
Like,
Same with Sicario. Arrival did pretty damn well.
Yeah, people really liked Arrival. So did critics too. So
Yeah.
I think this director's on a good roll, and I hope this just points to Blade Runner 2049 just doing great.
He hasn't made a bad movie yet, so I'm excited to see what he has for Blade Runner.
So switching to the next article, movies that don't do so well, but we're going to talk about it. Video game movies. The newest one being the new Tomb Raider trailer was released, I think, last week. And Jake, can you recap on the actress and I forget her name? Do you know?
Alicia Vikander.
And we know
she's an Oscar winner already, John.
right. And do we know who's directing it?
I have no idea.
Okay, I forgot to.
Yeah.
I looked this up.
It's
But
a video game movie. It's a nobody.
yeah. But so the trailer came out very reminiscent of the Tomb Raider reboot that came out a few years ago. It almost, you guys would agree, looks exactly like the video game so far.
There are scenes from this trailer that are like shot for shot from cutscenes of the 2013 reboot.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, that game's great.
Yeah.
But the concern comes from video games don't usually transfer to cinema that
and,
well.
And I'm excited to talk to you about this trailer because it released like 2 weeks ago, and we just haven't done a movie podcast for a while. I have feelings. I want to hear your feelings about it because I loved the reboot.
Yeah, I love the reboot game.
The video game reboot.
Yeah, the video game, you kind of got me onto it, told me about it. I eventually got around to playing it a couple years later. Loved it. Loved the cinematics. love the new take on the Tomb Raiders, kind of giving her a more grounded in humanity, fight to survive kind of thing on an island. This would a lot of this appears to be in the new movie, but my concern is, I guess I don't know the actress that well, so I can't. The acting in the trailer just looks a little cheesy at this point. It's like the ending scene where she's holding the two guns. I forget what she says, but it just looks too corny. I want to give it props for being true to the Tomb Raider series, but we know staying too true to a video game series can also be a backfire.
Yeah. I think it looks fun. I think it looks better than the Angelina Jolie duo of Tomb Raider movies, because those weren't very good.
No, those were terrible
at all. Daniel Craig was in the first one.
Oh no, that's the only reason it was decent.
Going back to him, that's the only fun thing about him. But yeah, it's nice to have, like, I loved the game, but not a lot of people play the game, especially people that go and watch movies compared to people that play games. So if they do the same story, which it looks like they are, and they just put it in a movie aspect, there are a couple spots that I didn't like the CGI in the movie. I'm hoping they can fix that in the next 6 months.
Sure.
But like the plane sequence where like she's jumping like on the plane wing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at the very end of or close to the end of the trailer.
Right.
That part was a little ridiculous to me. But like the part where like the ship, like the wreckage where she gets on the island, I liked that part because I was in the game. Right. And I feel like she's not even gonna like kill a lot of people, or she's not gonna want to kill a lot of people in the beginning, just like the game. I don't know if my feelings for the game are coming into this movie, but I liked the game a lot, and if they do the same story, especially with Alicia Vikander, I think it can be done very well.
So we'll see how the new Tomb Raider turns out. I have my skepticisms, and there's good things to come from it, and there's a lot of bad things that could happen, but I really want to be wrong. The reasons I have bad feelings is because video games movies don't trans well to cinema, and that leads to our next quick discussion, is favorite video game movie to date. This is not a very good list.
Is yours Assassin's Creed, you nasty?
No, it's
Hopefully
not.
it's the
Okay,
same as
good,
mine.
because you were defending that movie tooth and nail, and it's not good.
Yeah, the reason I defend that, well, I'm not going to talk about it because it's not even relevant to the list unless you guys bring it up. But
Nope, I won't.
Does Wreck-It Ralph count?
No, because
Oh, okay.
it's not an actual
Just-
like video game.
Does pixels count?
no.
all right, want me guys to kick this off? My favorite video game movie to date is
Prince of
Mortal
Persia.
What? No, get out of here. Mortal Kombat, released in the 90s. This movie works for me because it's very cheeky. It has source material that is kind of bizarre, and the action is just good enough to pass for 90s fight scenes, and like it pays tribute to the original Mortal Kombat. Yeah,
It gets carried by its theme.
yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
a dance remix.
Yeah.
And plus, like, it knows what it is, so it has fun with it. Like, the main Johnny Cage punching Goro in the balls.
Yeah.
Like, as a tough move. It's like, yep, I guess that works for this.
He gets
I'll
really
take it.
He gets really pissed when he crushes his glasses.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Replace those.
So Goro at the time, just seeing Sub-Zero and Scorpion for the first time on the screen was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Even though, like, their scenes didn't really pay enough tribute, in my opinion, to
What?
them.
Scorpion's scene where he takes him to hell was pretty cool.
That's all right. So, but no,
It's better than Reptiles.
yeah.
Oh, God, the CGI on that is so bad.
The sequel, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, has the worst CGI I've ever seen in my life.
That
Yeah.
doesn't
It is
surprise me.
so bad.
Yeah, it's
Isn't that
like
with the
it's like-
crazy
it's
lady?
like claymation.
It's worse than claymation. It's like PS1 graphics
Oh,
that they
God.
put into an actual feature film.
Yeah.
It is so
For the original
bad.
Mortal Kombat, straight 90 minutes, great action film, great
Yeah.
video game interpretation. That's my favorite. Who wants to go next?
Anthony?
All right, I'll go ahead. This is kind of a cop out, but it's a video game, and it's Pokemon the first movie, 1999.
I'll accept
It's
that.
not a cop out.
No, I'll take
I
it.
mean, it's kind of based on the anime, but it's still fine.
But it's
Yeah.
still a video game.
Yeah.
I think it holds up. It's got a good storyline, and it's,
Is that the one where, like...
Mew and Mewtwo are there.
Fighting, duking it
Oh,
out.
okay.
You
Ash
went to the
turns to stone, and
the Pokemon
everyone
cries.
cries.
Yeah.
you went to the theater. You got a Mewtwo card, and Burger King was like promoting the fuck out of this movie.
Anthony's
got
got 4 of those at home.
I bet he does.
No, I actually liked the first one too. I liked the first one and Pokemon 2000 at the time.
Nope, I stopped with the first movie.
Did you?
Yep.
I liked both those. So I was also very hooked on the anime before he went to Johto, please. But that's just me. No, bad props for Pokemon. That was a good one. Brent? You have no idea, do you?
I would probably have to do Warcraft.
Oh, I didn't see that
one.
coming. I should have.
I thought
Yeah,
you
he's
were
a
gonna
PC
say,
guy.
I thought you were going to say Street Fighter.
Well, okay, if you're not actually a person who played World of Warcraft, I can see why you didn't like it because it was just an average action film. But if you actually played the game, it actually did a really good job of sticking to the names and the storylines of all the characters that are from that. So in that regards, it did really well. The actual movie itself is so, but it's still my favorite movie game. So
All right. I mean, the list isn't good to choose from
No.
out of all of these. Honorable mention, it's always going to have a soft spot in my heart, is Super Mario Brothers.
I love it. I
my-
knew you were going to say that.
My nostalgia goggles are on tight for that movie, but I love it. I don't know why.
that's just an honorable mention.
It's got Dennis Hopper.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
got John Leguizamo. It's got Bob Hoskins. They're all doing fucking A work, 100%. They're fully in it. It's good. Like, it doesn't look like anything like Super Mario Brothers. It looks like just it looks like Blade Runner a little bit. All the the town, the city, the Koopa place that they're
Ugh.
at. Yoshi looks ridiculous.
It's so bad.
Yeah, I love it. But the pick that I'm choosing for my favorite video game movie is Silent Hill.
Oh, and that's like number 4 on this list.
Oh, is it? Silent Hill is a really good horror movie. It kind of follows the story of Silent Hill 2 a little bit, but there are some really good scares in there. The acting is pretty good. Sean Bean's in it.
Was it Silent Hill 2 that was regarded as a really good game too?
Yeah, like one of the best horror games ever.
So if you have not seen Silent Hill, the movie, like me, worth watching? Or is it hold up, not hold
I
up?
mean, you're a puss with horror movies,
was
so
gonna
I
say,
would
you're
say
yeah,
hate
but I appreciate the aspects of horror films.
I like Silent Hill. I rewatched it a couple years ago, and it still holds up to me. So
But is it like the game where it's more of, I mean, there's some blood in it, but it's more about like subtle, like things coming out of the fog, jump
Oh, yeah.
scares, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just weird, twisted imagery.
there's a lot of twisted stuff in the third act. It kind of does a weird it's doing this at the end.
Oh yeah,
And it loses some people. I kind of like the twist at the end.
sure.
But yeah, I would say there not a lot of good video game movies, but that's by far my favorite.
All right, moving on to the meat portion of our podcast. A couple weeks ago, we all saw Kingsman, The Golden Circle, and we kind of have our own thoughts on it. So we're going to today give you our reviews on it. First thoughts, guys, after seeing it 2 weeks ago. First initial thoughts leaving the theater, and how's it sitting with you now?
When I first saw it, I'm a big fan of the first one. I rewatched it a couple days before I saw the new one, and I thought the first one was better than the second one. I still enjoyed the second one quite a bit leaving the theater.
Yeah, I remember liking the first one. I've not seen it since I first saw it, but I remember a lot of sequences stuck with me. So I remember liking this movie a lot. Had a lot of high hope going into this movie, and I remember leaving thinking, yeah, I mean this movie did what I wanted to do. It was good.
I liked it as well. I didn't really have any problems with it. The only thing that I noticed from the first one was the fight scene in the church really stood out to me, and I know I just didn't walk away with that from Kingsman 2.
Anthony, thoughts?
It was good. I feel like I'm going to be the most critical on it, just because I love the first one so much. But this one, I don't know. I just wanted more from it, and it's probably from the church scene. I wanted more of that. I wanted a decent villain. I felt like this one just wasn't doing it for me, and I won't get into her character yet. But I don't know. It was good.
All right, so let's get into some details here because we've already kind of hit on some stuff. But so we're gonna talk about the story first. Kingsman is a action spy thriller, kind of return to, I would say, spy movies during its most ludicrous time, with but maybe the early Bond, mid Bond movies, but
It's a big
exaggerated.
It's a big homage to Bond.
Right.
It's not a spoof. It's trying to just like exaggerate what
Yeah.
Bond did.
It takes like the key points you think of in a Bond movie and exaggerates them.
So think of like modern day Bonds such as Skyfall, Spectre. They play with a lot of serious themes. Kingsman has fun with it. It just takes spy genre themes and blows them up out of proportion and has fun with it, and that works. That's what's so great about these movies. Compared to the first one, like you guys said, there's an evil villain. She has an evil plan, and the Kingsmen are out to save the day with some obstacles in the way. So do we think, compared to the spy genre and the first movie, because obviously we make a lot of comparisons to the first movie already, did the story work for you guys?
I know that the first cut of this movie was supposedly 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Whoa.
And Matthew Vaughn, or Paramount, told Matthew Vaughn that they could either A, put this into one movie, which it was like 2 hours, 15 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
Or he could split it up into part 1 and part 2. And Matthew Vaughn decided to choose to push it all into one movie. And I kind of feel like that shows a little bit. There are some performances in this movie that just feel very shrunken down because they have to fit it into the plot somehow. I know that Whiskey, he's an afterthought in this movie, which
Yeah.
really sucks because I was looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing him in this movie, but he was in it for like 15 minutes maybe.
Yeah, it's just I was really looking forward to his character, and then because the kind of the build up they did with the trailers, and
Yeah.
just a big letdown.
And the drug, how it has like 4 different phases, and the second one is dancing.
Right.
The only reason they had it as dancing, in my opinion, is because Channing Tatum used to be a dancer, and he had a funny scene where he
Right.
danced. I think it's the only reason why they put that part in the movie.
Well, I
Yeah.
think Kingsman also plays with like big global death scenario, but throws a little humor in that death as well.
See, I have a problem with that though. Like with the first one, it has the villain. His plan is it's set in stone. Like what he's doing, he's gonna do it. He's gonna kill a multitude of people,
Yeah.
millions of people. It felt like Austin Powers. It's like I'm gonna do this. Otherwise, you have to give me like a billion, trillion, zillion, bafillion amount of dollars. Otherwise, I'll stop.
Well, I mean, her background was like, yeah, I'm doing all this stuff. Like, I'm a multi-billionaire, but I can't live in the U.S. because all this shit is prohibited. Like, it's illegal for me to do.
Did that work for you guys though? Like
Her-
like her incentive to be evil.
So the main boss, in order for her to be a good boss, she would have to be able to, her plot, like her way to devise all this stuff to be plausible. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, like because we established that, spoilers here, everything's been spoilers from here on out.
Yep.
Is that she deals in the drug market, makes tons of money, more than she can be accredited for because she's a villain, and she's considered a bad person because she deals in drugs, and she wants for drugs to be legal, so she can become this idealistic, top, successful businesswoman, and that's like her ultimate goal is not only to kill people, but to be acknowledged as this billionaire, successful businesswoman, but happens to deal in drugs.
Which is, it's the start of the movie. I mean, they blow up the entire headquarters of all the Kingsmen, and then we have this drug that's just, if you don't cure it, you die.
Yeah, and if Poppy knew about the Kingsmen, you would think she would know about the Statesmen too. Like, why only attack the
Right.
Kingsmen in order for the survivors to go to the U.S.?
But why with her incentive, why did she need to kill the Kingsmen?
I don't think she really needed to.
Yeah, see,
No.
it just seems like a weak plot point. In that's another point I was going to bring up with the story is that obviously she tries to kill all the Kingsmen, blows up all the bases, and maybe it's because of the character that's trying to. Is it Charlie? Is that the bad?
Yeah, Charlie's the bad guy.
Yeah, wants to take out
It's
Iggy.
Kingsman because he didn't get in.
Well, I mean, that may not be that might not be a reason why, because they don't even know that there's the Statesman. So obviously he wouldn't know there's the Statesman, so he would only know about the Kingsman, which maybe she thought the only threat to her business plan was the Kingsman.
But the movie opened up with this guy trying to hack into the Kingsman system to identify all their agents and kill them. But was that because she saw them as a threat to her plan? But I mean, it just seems like a plot point used to set a tone as a restart or start from scratch with the characters we're given.
If it wasn't a world thing, if it was just only the UK, I could see it being more plausible. But since it was a whole world thing, that's kind of where it kind of threw that out the door for me.
it really bums me out seeing the first one going into the second one. The main girl agent that beat Eggsy out in the planning, the training.
Dead.
Well, no, in the first one, she doesn't do anything. Like, she goes up into space and shoots down a satellite, and that's it. So I thought, oh, okay, in the sequel, she's going to do a lot more stuff. In this one, she fucking helps Eggsy out on his date, and then she dies because she's in the mansion.
Yeah.
I hated that so much. I really wanted her to be a bigger part in this movie, and she just wasn't.
Right. And, Kingsman 1 kind of... establishes the group, and then 2 obliterates them, and then we're expected to. This character is going to restart the Kingsman all over again with some help from the Statesman. I don't think. I'm not sure if it was necessary.
Well, there's another death in this movie that I hate more than hers, and that's Merlin. He goes out like such a bitch. I mean, his death is really cool. Like when he sings the song and everything, he just steps on a mine. Or no, Eggsy steps on a mine first, and then there's this magical spray that can only work once.
He freezes
Yeah,
the
but they know they
detonation
won't
trigger.
get out of there in time, so that's why he steps back on it.
But what drove me about that scene, Jake, to your point, is up to that mine, the scanner was working perfectly, and then for some reason they get to the last mine, and then they F up on the scanning, on the tool that they're using.
Yep.
And there was no consequence to him really dying other than they're getting mad at the main villain, but they already had a reason to kill the villain. There's no reason for him to die.
I know. I feel like they only did this to pull at heartstrings, and I was just mad.
This movie is not known. This movie shouldn't be pulling any heartstrings. It's an action thriller, and there was no reason for. He has a cool character, too cool of a character to die.
Yeah, if this movie didn't kill Merlin and it left, what's the guy that comes back with all the butterflies? What's his name?
Harry.
Yeah, if they left Harry dead and it was just Merlin and Eggsy, I would have liked that a lot better.
Yeah, I would agree.
I wanted so many plot twists in this. If Harry came back, I wanted him to turn evil at the end. I wanted Merlin to turn evil because how is he alive after all of this? He just comes out of the rubble and he's like, oh, they didn't have my address. I just wanted so much more. I wanted so much more evil.
You wanted a twist.
I wanted a twist, and I didn't ever get one.
Well, there was so much time with Harry just trying to bring him back to the old Harry. And the butterfly scenes in this movie really pissed me off because it's just like, oh, yeah, I forgot some things. I guess you're going to have to make this mission harder. Like, it happened a couple times in this movie, and I hate it every time it happened.
As far as story goes, do you think this movie actually could have gotten away without Harry's character and still been just as good as the movie?
He joins up with Merlin.
Like
there's a perfect...
Yep. I think it would have been a better movie. Like, the way the movie plays out now, all the Kingsmen die except for Merlin and Eggsy. I would have liked that.
Yeah.
I would have liked that a hell of a lot better. Especially, I know Merlin and Ginger Ale kind of have like this, oh yeah, I'm a techie. Merlin didn't want to go on the field. Ginger Ale did. I think it would have been fine to force Merlin to go on the field. And I know that he died the way that he did heroically, but he's not stupid. He wouldn't step on a mine like that. I don't think you needed that part in there. I think if you just had Merlin and Eggsy, no Harry, would have been fine.
I agree.
Rest of the story goes, I think there was enough there to give you a 2-hour movie with and still taking out some of the discrepancies obviously we had with some characters, some deaths, and for me it was a lot of story pacing. The guy who plays the Lasso character,
I can't remember his name either, and the only thing I know him from, he plays the main character on Narcos.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, but I don't know the character's name.
He's also a prince of Game of Thrones. No, but his plot twist at the end, like, he was never part of the evil organization, but he just had a motive to, I want druggies to die because they killed my wife.
Yeah.
That was not the plot twist I wanted at the end.
Well, I feel like if this movie was split into 2 movies, they could have had more, like, background going into it, and it would have made more sense.
Sure.
The way they laid it out in this movie, it didn't really sit right with me either.
Like when he comes out, he gets shot by Harry.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ginger brings him back, and then he's like, they went to South America, I think.
Yeah.
And then he's like, Eggsy's going to need backup. At that point, I kind of thought, okay, he's actually good, and Harry's bad.
See, I never thought he was good.
Really?
When Harry originally shot him, and when they were in Iceland or wherever, the plant, the ice plant with the antidote, that area.
The skiing mountain.
Yeah, and when Eggsy had the antidote in his hand, you could see that the Lasso character, did you figure out his name?
So Channing Tatum is tequila.
Oh.
That kid's whiskey.
Gotcha.
And then
Okay.
Jeff Bridges is champagne champ.
Yeah, we haven't got to him yet. We will.
I love
but yeah, okay. So whiskey. When whiskey sees the antidote in his hand, you can just see him look at it and like, I want to fucking destroy this. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh, okay, this is a bad guy. So it didn't really. I kind of figured he was a bad guy from that moment on.
I wish, like we just talked about with Harry, his halfway through the movie, he comes back from they justify it as he loses his consciousness of being a spy because he reverts back to pre-spy.
That's not even fair timing. No, he came back in like the first third.
Okay, so first third.
I would say he came back like around the halfway point, like the
did?
first third to half of the movie. Like they don't get to him until the end of like the first third.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then the first third to close to like the halfway point is just trying to get Harry
Right.
to come back to normal.
That's the problem.
It dragged.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
it really did.
I
don't
agree.
think they needed
I
to
think
bring
he
it back.
was, I think he was one of the biggest parts of the movie, and they just didn't think they could make it without him. They sure could have.
Right. I think if you're gonna bring him back like they did, because he was such an amazing part of the first movie, then don't make him this puss.
Right. Bring
that
him
he
back
was.
to the quality that he truly was in that
Right.
first movie.
Yeah.
If you want to have this slow get back, fine, but actually make him a badass again. Not this. Oh, I see butterflies.
Bring him back the way you did in that bar scene, instead of him missing because he does no depth perception.
Although that was.
Did the romantic part of the story work for you guys? I think it worked actually kind of well.
I did too. I really did.
It made it like compared to Harry's side story, the romantic side story was 10 times better, just because it played with elements that were related to the overall theme, and the bad guy itself was actually intertwined. Had a part with how the princess, her storyline, kind of overarched, and then there was a plot point in the movie where his mission forces him to break his relationship vows to his girlfriend, and they kind of have like a little tiff about it, but it never actually happened. But it was a cool interaction scene, and it played with it very well.
To insert this thing into this girl at a hippie fest.
That was amazing. I really wanted to yell, "I'll do the finger rain" when that happened, because when we watched the movie, there were like a couple of like 12-year-olds, 10 to 12-year-olds behind me.
Which is not, this movie is not for.
But they know what fingering is now because they go in depth. Like there's this little tracker device
Finger condom.
that they put on a finger condom that they have to put inside of the girl.
Which is weird. It was weird. It was weird to see in a movie. It just because
Brent's so red right now.
I didn't expect it to see, but it happened.
No, that's why I like Kingsman. I love the first one so much. I like parts of the second one because they go places where a lot of other movies just decide to stop.
All right, so let's jump to the next section here. We speak to a lot of these characters, the actors who played them. It's a large cast here. Did any of these work especially well or not work for you guys at all?
Well, we talked about Tequila. I wanted Channing Tatum in this movie way more because I liked what he was bringing to the table, and I'm hoping if we get a third movie, he'll be a bigger part.
Yeah, he plays that country role a lot, but it works especially well in this movie because when they come to America, they kind of play up the country stereotype. But these guys play the stereotype, but then they're also like really secret, awesome spies.
Yeah, and it's fun because they come to the States, and then like they have like a baseball bat that's impenetrable and a baseball that's a grenade.
Yeah.
It's like they just do Americana. Like when Whiskey tries to catch up to them, he has a fighter pilot jet.
Yeah.
That he just fucking books it back to them. Like I liked the American aspects in this movie.
That's who I loved most in this movie was Jeff Bridges, and
Oh,
I wanted
yeah?
to see tons more of him.
What'd you like best about him? Because I have a couple. He was just fun.
He was just fun. I mean, he had his cigar. He was the head of the Statesman.
Yeah.
I think they made a good like old pop western lead.
It's like they told Jeff Bridges to do whatever the fuck he wanted, just like whatever character quirks.
And he
like,
did.
Yeah, he would take a cigar and instead of like first smoking it, he would just like cross it across his nose and sniff it. And then what was he doing with like the whiskey he was drinking? Like he'd dip his finger in and sniff the whiskey.
It would.
I love this character.
I would have lost it if he was making like a White Russian at some point in the movie.
Oh sure, yeah, Big Lebowski. That would have been fun. Yeah.
What do you guys think of Halle Berry as this tech role? And her progression kind of shows from tech E to agent field, but I mean, anything. Like I just felt like she was an odd placement in this movie.
She didn't earn the progression she got in this movie.
Yeah.
I love that Michael Caine was replaced with Dumbledore as Arthur,
Yeah.
the head of the Kingsmen.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you don't remember that?
I remember that.
He's sitting at the table and he gets blown up. He's not in it long,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Dumbledore's the new Arthur.
Was there any actor who you thought didn't need to be in this movie at all, based on the character they played? Obviously, we don't like the Harry character in it, but the actor.
Well, Colin Firth though is
yeah,
always good.
Yeah, he does a good job. We just agreed his character is not needed.
I mean, Elton John, maybe?
Yeah, we haven't talked about him like at
I
all.
hated him in this.
See, he was either love or hate with me. I liked him in this movie for the sheer fact of like when he's doing like a karate kick and cheesing at the camera. I love that thing.
Had he been in it for just a couple minutes and then exited it out, it would have
Yeah.
been fine.
Yeah,
But
he was in it for a long
helped
time.
kill the dog at the end.
He was in it for like 6 scenes, which is like 3 too many.
It was
Yeah.
too many.
So-
I'm right there with you.
As soon as he started fighting.
The song
Well, no.
Saturday Night
Well, that
is
was
right for
fine.
fighting, and
Yeah.
it's Wednesday.
Yeah, it's pushing it, but it's fine. There was a part where Poppy was like rolling out her master plan, and he finally got like the injection. I thought that was funny when he's like, "Oh fuck you! Like get out of here!
Yeah.
Get me out of here!" Like I thought that part was really funny.
If they would have stopped right there, though, that'd been perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when a main plot point to stop one of the dogs is to just put Elton John's face in it.
Yeah.
And then like Poppy's just like, "Okay, fuck you, Elton John. I'm gonna kill you too." Like you didn't need that part.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, he was very hit or miss with me in this movie.
That part I didn't like.
Can we talk about Julianne Moore as Poppy?
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you guys think of her?
No, it didn't hit it for me.
Not impressed.
Not crazy enough.
It's just funny because a lot of critics, I think, liked her.
And I think I liked her for the most part. I just don't know if like
I
liked her
crazy.
I liked her performance. I don't know if her performance fit this movie that
I
well.
didn't like her just ODing at the end. What a dumb ending.
Well, I mean, she doesn't do drugs; she sells drugs.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she probably gave what she could to this role, what she had to work with.
I'm comparing her to Samuel L. Jackson as Valentine in the first
You
movie.
can't do that.
Well, Valentine had some quirks too. Like he had like a lisp that he brought. He brought that like he didn't like blood to the role. Like a lot of those things were kind of cartoonish too, but it made it work. I just think it's the plot in the second movie that doesn't make Julianne Moore kind of mold into the form of Kingsman in the second movie.
But the problem is with her plot, even if it was written better, I don't think she would fulfill that role for me.
Really?
No.
Actually like her as an actress.
I liked her too.
She wasn't.
I like her as an actress too. I
Yeah.
just
No, she's playing 50s wholesome. Like I didn't mind that part at all.
And what do you think of the main actor? He fits the role of
Who
Yeah.
Taron Egerton?
yeah. Fits
No,
the role of-
he's great. Like for him not being the only movie that I know him in is Kingsman, Eddie the Eagle,
Ugh.
and Kingsman 2. Did you see
And
Eddie the
Sing.
Eagle?
No.
Sure, a voice, but Eddie the Eagle is very good, very
is it?
underrated. I loved that movie, but
Just stupid humor.
He hasn't been in a lot of movies.
Eddie the Eagle's like an inspirational
Oh.
film.
Yeah,
Whoops.
he hasn't been in a lot of movies, but he can hold his own
Oh, yeah.
with A-list actors.
Absolutely.
Which it tells you something. I liked his role.
So, yeah.
All right, so let's move on to some other stuff we've kind of already hit about, but we'll kind of revisit some technical aspects. Favorite sequences. There's a lot of like action pieces that were flushed out, maybe too flushed out, or maybe were short enough. Is there any sequences as far as fight scenes or spy genre films
We've
that we
already
played upon?
talked about the fingering. Let's not go back into that.
I actually liked.
That's my favorite technique in this movie.
The one thing I actually remember the most is that probably actually the thing from the trailer is the mountain, the ski lodge scene.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, I liked the play on mechanics. I liked the whole spinning situation.
I gotta say, like, the two things that I remember from the trailer is that ski sequence and the very beginning of the movie with
Yes.
the car in London.
Yes. That's why I got so excited because
Oh, yeah?
the way they started it with that car sequence.
I didn't like the car sequence.
Really?
I thought it looked way too CGI'd. It didn't look real to me.
But that kind of there's gotta be a term for that cinematography where it looks like fast forward between like each punch. That's how the church scene was filmed.
Yeah, but that seemed very more like in depth with the real world. The car scene just kind of took me out. of it. I don't know.
But correct me if I'm wrong. But is that the only scene we kind of get that visual
Yeah.
effect? Is it the
Yeah.
car scene and not anywhere else in the fight scenes of
You
the
get
movies?
you get some with the final fight scene where it's the lasso guy versus the other two. You get that a little bit.
Yeah, but not
Some.
merely to
Yeah.
like. Like I said, we always go back to that church scene, but that church scene lasted for maybe 5-6 minutes of nonstop that kind of filming, that's why we loved it.
No, I've seen that church scene quite a bit. I just rewatched it a couple days before we watched this movie. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, that'll forever probably remain.
Yeah,
my
and
top.
a couple parts of it look fake, but you don't care because it looks like what they're doing, what they're accomplishing with this fight scene is so remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fast forward, like it looks like a fast forward motion, but with a nice kind of way he shot it was awesome. And we don't get, we get in the car scene, but we don't get it to the degree of the church that we all loved, and actually would have preferred more of that style in the fight scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
Like if they would have had that, like a fight scene near the ski lodge or like in the snow, that'd been sweet too. I would love to see that, especially from the lasso guy's perspective. That'd been awesome. But we didn't get that.
I did when the lasso was first showed off in the bar. I liked that part a lot. Best lassoing since D2 The Mighty Ducks. I'm telling you right now, it's good shit. But yeah, like where you see the lassoing in the trailers, but you don't see it until that first bar scene, and just whipping it out and him whipping ass is really
But
good.
do you like it when it turns into a laser?
Yeah, because it's a gadget. It's a gadget. I think it's cool.
It's super neat. Yeah.
In the snow when he cuts that guy in half with it, like I thought that was cool. It's a little over the top, but
Yeah, where he is just like killing everybody in the snow, and then like Eggsy and Henry are just talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to mention, we already talked about this, the final fight scene where they enter the 50s compound, Poppy's final area.
Poppy's diner.
Yep, and it's Eggsy and Harry, and they're going full out frontal attack. There's a couple of things I want to point out, and you guys can chime in at any point. One, I don't think they took that's not very spy-ish, which I think the end of Kingsman 1 had a very spy-ish approach before all hell broke loose.
Yeah,
they didn't
really
try
did.
that here.
No.
They snuck up through the jungle and stepped on a mine or forced another way. I get that, but I want a spy movie with a spy ending.
Yeah.
And then the fighting in this, like, it just didn't do it for me. Like the donut rolling and them hiding, and then
Oh, see, I thought that part was fine. I would say, thinking back about it, the ski part was good. I would say them leading up to the final fight with a whiskey, like with the donut and everything. I liked that, like with the whole suitcase and the bat
really?
and ball. I did like that. Yeah, it was fun.
I just felt like that's how they're gonna end this over the top spy movie, with over the top action, and the action, like it would be cool action, but this action wasn't cool to me at least.
I didn't like how they cut it off to where like they Merlin, or no, not Merlin, Henry was going his own way and getting attacked by a dog, and then Eggsy was fighting the guy with the robot hand. That the robot hand kind of was stupid because he just like controlled the robot hand with his watch and just made him like hang on a tree.
Which felt like a cop out.
It did feel like a cop out. Yeah. It
Instead
felt
of,
like it felt like a MacGuffin. Like, how can we make this guy beat him? Oh, let's just have him hack his arm.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. One thing I really want to cover is we talked about comparisons to first movies, but where do we want to see the Kingsman go from here for sequels?
See, the ending of this movie, Eggsy is a goddamn prince now.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to work in the sequels,
I guess
but
the question should we ask first, do we get a sequel to Kingsman? Do you guys think that's a plausibility?
I think so. It made
okay.
it's a little.
You're right.
See, the only reason the first one got a sequel, the first one didn't do that well in theaters, but the Blu-ray sales did very well.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this one does the same, so we do get a third one. I
doubt it will.
I know. I don't think it will either because this one's getting kind of a bad rap.
Right, because I think this one did so well in the theaters because it was the first one was so well liked.
Yeah.
But now this one's not going to be as well liked.
Well, yeah, this one's doing less than the first one did
Overall.
which isn't good,
Right.
at all. I'm really hoping that this franchise can keep on going on, but I don't know where they go from the third one. But I do have a question. First movie, Kingsman, in Europe, in Britain. Second movie, Statesman, in the United States. If you could pick any region for the third movie to go into, like let's say, oh god, the whiskey compound gets bombed too from somebody, where would they go next?
I wouldn't want that.
Australia.
Easy. Obviously they
Hugh Jackman's the leader.
But I think
They
that's
have boomerangs.
I think that's too close to the Europe.
It would be great.
And
I feel like Europe is its own thing. America, of course, they're bringing all that shit in there. You know what the biggest... No, don't shake your head at me, Anthony. the biggest, if they want to get a box office jump, a jolt, China is a big, like, we're making movies for China right now. If they bring Jackie Chan into this bitch,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
he's his own action star.
that would be smart. The only reason Transformers is still alive is because of China.
Yeah.
China, the fifth Pirates of the Caribbean's movie did very well in China.
And yeah, Kingsman plays on these regions very, very in a clever sense.
There is so much to spoof on China. I would love that so much.
Okay, what's
Jackie Chan as the main guy?
What do you spoof about?
Chow Yun Fat, bring that fucker in. Get him in here.
But like-
I want him. I want everything kung fu. They don't have kung fu in this movie yet. If they bring kung fu into the goddamn Secret Service of Kingsman and
Oh,
Statesman,
God, like super gadget ninja stars or
oh,
something.
that would be the best. I would love that so much.
I feel like that's an easy way to go, and I'm actually okay with that.
It's not easy.
Jet
It's
Li's
smart.
the bad guy.
I feel like if there's any way they get a third movie out of this, they have to go to that demographic.
Despite our ideas, there's a lot of cool sequel potential here. I just hope the box office and production side of it agrees. So we'll have to see in the near future. Usually we get a greenlit for a sequel a year or two out from its counterpart. So good things to see there. Some last few minutes stats. You guys can chime in at any point on Kingsman where it's at right now. It debuted 9/21 of this year. First weekend haul was $39 million. It dethroned It, as we said earlier in the episode, in September.
It in its like third week.
Right.
So it better have beat it.
Like we said, September didn't have much, so Kingsman easily took the top. Compared to the first one, it beat the first one in sales
By a
Hard
couple
to
million.
say.
on the opening weekend.
No,
Hard because you liked the Kingsman so much, and you didn't know about it the first time, and you wanted to have that same viewing.
Well, that's not a good credit for the second one.
No, that's what we're saying. Like, if a lot of people watched it on DVD and Blu-ray and streaming and all that stuff, the second one should have had a way bigger opening, but it only beat the first one by a couple million.
Yeah.
You're right.
So that's not. I mean, doesn't look great, but in the overall run, current domestic is 66 million, international is 126 million, which puts its worldwide total at 192 million. I think it had $100 million budget or right around there. So it
That
made its
sounds
money
right.
back, but made its marketing back. From a studio perspective, I would hope that justifies a sequel.
I don't know about that.
All right, before we leave Kingsman, let's go around the table and give our official 5-star review from each of our all-stars. And I'll go ahead and kick it off with, I gave this movie a 3 out of 5 stars. Just because everything we discussed, if I'm going to rate it purely on action and fun, which is the best parts of the movie for me, it comes in around a 3 out of 5. If I was to throw in the story elements and stuff right there, I'm not going to give it any more credit for that. So that's me, though. Guys?
Which is why I went 2.5. It was fine. It was, again, I felt like I'm going to be the most critical with this one because Brent is giving me a crazy look. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't my favorite. And I wanted so much more. I wanted plot twists. I wanted more evil. I don't know. I didn't get it. I didn't get it with this movie, and I'm disappointed.
All right. I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think it was great. I think it was bad. I'd give it 3.5.
Okay.
I thought the action almost lived up to the first one. Almost. It didn't have a defining scene, like I said, that I walked away with remembering. But and it's definitely worth picking up out of a Redbox and watching it, for sure.
I've been racking my brain. I'm anywhere between a 2.5 and a 3.5 at the moment. I think I'm just going to go with my gut, go in the middle. I'm going to do 3 out of 5 on this one. I think it's a full star below the first one.
All right, so obviously we're kind of all right in the middle of the line there. Some favored it more than others, but go see it yourself. Let us know what you think in our comments. But moving on, it's time for my favorite part of the podcast, and that is the trivia.
I love the theme song you played this time, John.
What was the theme song I played last time?
Cupheads.
You played the weakest link last time.
That's
And I
right.
loved that, but this one even tops it.
Yeah, it was good. All right, Brent is our host trivia master tonight. He brings all the clips, and the clips are usually pretty good. Tonight's theme is obviously movies, so Brent's going to play some movies clips for us. Hey, Brent, are you ready to drop that first clip on us?
See.
Brent and I, the podcast guy.
Okay. Clip number 1.
See you in church.
Yeah, have a good evening.
You too. See you tonight, Charlotte.
Yeah, see ya.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right, old fella. Just closing up, fellas.
Fargo.
Coffee? Black.
Same. I'll have some pie. Some of that lemon meringue pie.
Nice. I'm sorry, we're close.
I said,
The lemon meringue pie is
Yeah, I know.
is gonna throw me off because
See, that's helping me out. I know I've heard this because of that.
I know that pie scene, that pie term is coming to mind with something. But I think we're gonna need some clues here, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost.
All right. Came out in 2005.
The
It's a-
history of violence.
wow. Yep.
Is that it?
Oh,
Yes. Good.
jeez.
Have any of you seen that movie?
Yeah, Viggo Mortensen.
Yep.
Okay.
Damn.
Good.
That's well done.
I just posted the steelbook of this a couple days ago.
Oh,
That's why it was
nice.
on my mind.
Nice. I love that
Are you
movie.
two in collaboration together? This is awful suspicious.
I just know I remember that conversation happening. I know I've seen that movie, so
Yeah, I watched that movie like 8 years ago.
all I needed was the year.
All right, Brant, can you drop clip number 2 on
Aye.
us?
Clip number 2.
Castaway.
George of the Jungle.
The monster movie. Ghostbusters? Gremlins.
Eight-legged freaks.
Independence Day.
Yeah.
Danny.
Okay.
Danny.
Original or the Matthew Broderick Godzilla?
No.
Ew.
All right. It's so funny once you hear the person that was behind the voice you guys were all quoting. Came out in 1997.
1997.
Species.
The Thing?
Nope. Action, adventure, horror.
Sounds about right. So, Eight-Legged Freaks is around the same time. That was 99. I'm trying to think of a couple years prior to that.
You gave me
Action.
a dirty look when I said that, and that was a decent guess.
It was not a decent movie.
No, it was terrible, but
It was nowhere near water, and I've heard a lot of water in
Yeah.
this clip. Action, adventure, horror
The Mist.
Nope.
in 97. I don't know. I'm probably thinking way too hard
Such a
about this
bad movie.
dumbass movie.
It was directed by Luis Loso.
Next.
Oh God.
The Craft.
No. All right. The actors and actresses are going to start giving it away.
I'm excited.
Gotta remember that guy's name. Eric Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz.
What?
Okay.
Idle Hands?
Nope.
Eric Stoltz.
gonna-
97.
Yeah. It's
Yikes.
going to start getting obvious.
Okay.
John Voight.
Anaconda.
Yep.
That's not a monster movie. It's a,
It's action and adventure horror.
yeah. I was hung
An
up on
ice
monster.
cube.
That movie's awful.
trounced.
Yikes.
That was Jennifer Lopez's.
Sure was.
Was that her movie debut?
No.
No.
No. I remember her in Selena.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Blake played that in Spanish class.
Mm-hmm.
And
Good movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Geely?
That was way after Anaconda. But yeah,
Also-
that movie's awful.
Also a classic.
Classic shitbag.
So that puts Jake on the board with 2 points, and with just me and Anthony.
I want another clip. I like these.
That makes him the winner. But we'll throw a third clip in just for fun.
Okay. Clip number 3.
Fuck! Don't.
Don't I?
Girl with Dragon Tech 2.
No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What?
Fuck you.
Really?
It is.
Too bad he's already won for the night.
I'll play the rest of
What gave that away?
Sail away.
This is a crazy scene.
In fact, I've never touched a man except my father.
This is when he's in the in the basement when he's about to hack him up.
Oh.
Harriet's and mine.
I've never seen this movie.
Oh, you haven't seen the one with Daniel Craig?
I know.
You've
I know.
never seen this?
It's David Fincher. And it's one of the only David Fincher movies I've never seen. I know.
It's so
Oh,
good.
it's so good.
I own it. I haven't watched it. I know. There's a lot.
Wow.
It's
Do you
dark.
own it on Steelbook?
It's dark, but it's good.
This is actually one of my favorite films of all
It's a
time.
good one.
Yeah, I know.
It's like up there with Mad Max Fury Road.
I can't believe you
Fuck
didn't
off.
steal
Is
that
that-
away from
No
me.
No,
way.
I'm dead serious.
This is one of
Brent.
I've wanted to watch this for a while.
How
I'll
have you
sit
not
down and
seen
watch this with you.
I don't know.
I'll
You
watch
give
it
me
again.
shit
It's great.
for whatever, whatever the past, my
like The
future,
Godfather. Like,
No.
you've never seen The Godfather.
No, the Back to the Future. Jesus Christ.
All right, on that note, that has been episode 11 of Super Media All Stars. We are all in all kinds of social media these days. One of them being Facebook at Super Media All Stars. Please like us there and subscribe. We can always appreciate the followings. You can find us on Twitter at
SMAS Pod, son. We on Instagram at Super Media All Stars. We on a lot of that social media shit.
We post a lot of video game stuff on there, a lot of finds. We all retro collectors, so we kind of find stuff we like to post.
Yeah, we have a lot more game stuff than movie stuff. I kind of want to put some more movie stuff on there as well.
But speaking of movie stuff, Jake, you have your own Instagram for a very movie-related account. What was that one called?
I do. I am a collector of steelbooks, so you can follow me on Instagram at SteelbookObsessed. I've got quite a following. They're very hardcore, and they like what I have to put down. I have posted 86 different steelbooks so far, and I'm only in the H's.
On a side note, we are going to go see Blade Runner 2049 later this week, so be looking forward to that podcast as we are all very excited to see that movie. We're excited to share our feedback with you listeners.
Oh, yeah.
But till then, this has been episode 11 of Super Media All Stars. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thank
See
you.
you, bye.
Thank you. And good night.
We'll see you next time. Yeah.
Game over, man. Game over.
Bye bye.
I am out of here.